Hey everyone, welcome back to the Kia Hyundai channel. My name is Gabi and today we have a vehicle that is a sport utility vehicle. Now a lot of cars on the market, they'll have that in their name, it's an SUV, but this vehicle delivers sport, utility, and vehicle all in one fancy package. Today we're talking about the 2026 Hyundai Tucson N-Line, and a fun fact about this vehicle is it's the introductory trim for a hybrid in the Hyundai Tucson lineup. So you might not necessarily think sportiness and hybrid together, but this car proves it can happen, and it does it very well. So in today's video, we're doing a full in-depth walkthrough, and we're doing it live. So I'm recording this in real time, no fancy camera equipment, no scripts, no nothing. It's just me, the car, and my cameraman, Adam. Let's get into it. I'll first start off with the price point. Now this vehicle is priced at $43,799 Canadian. That is the base MSRP, so before taxes and fees. And I did say Canadian, that is Canadian dollars because we are based here in Ontario, Canada. Now if you are watching from the States, your Tucson N-Line may be equipped differently, but this is what we get right over here. Let's do it, Adam. So starting off with the exterior, today we have the ash black paint color. This is a $250 paint charge from Hyundai. I believe their complementary paint is the white, which still looks fantastic on this trim. One thing you'll notice with a lot of our N-Line models is dark accents. Dark accents are very hard to show when we're already working with a pretty dark paint. So pay attention, you guys. You're gonna wanna watch this video. Watch it carefully. Right on the front end, when it comes to our grille, we have a dark chrome finish. So not a blacked out look that scratches easily. This dark chrome looks a little classier, and it also holds up a bit better over time. It's a little bit more forgiving to scratches than regular black paint. For your daytime running lights, they have a silver or dark chrome outer finish or layer. When I turn off the lights, you'll notice they disappear and blend in with the grille itself. So styling on this car, it's already top notch. We haven't even gotten to the N-Line exclusive elements yet. Your main headlamps are full LEDs, so bold, bright white lights, and LEDs also last a whole lot longer than traditional bulbs. They also do not emit heat, so you have a more efficient burning light with a clear, sharp path. The cutoff on these lamps are fantastic, and they're not positioned too low on the front end of your vehicle, so you always have a clear view. You also get integrated high beam assist, so if you frequently drive in rural areas and turn on your high beams, choosing the auto function instead will then turn off the high beams if it senses another car or enough sufficient light around you. It's a pretty cool function to have, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole lot more. As far as styling goes, some of the N-Line exclusives will come down to our front bumper, as well as just the general front fascia. So a lot more gloss black design elements, which blend in perfectly with our black exterior paint today. I know this is going to be hard, so guys, pay attention. So this element here will be black regardless of your exterior paint color. We also have this long, expanding all the way across the front end, front design piece. I won't say this is a true black. It's a bit more of a dark gunmetal, and it's a matte finish, so it'll blend in nicely with the rest of the shiny elements of the car, or provide a different contrast. As far as tech and safety go, on the right-hand side or passenger side, we have a radar plate. Now this radar plate gives this vehicle smart cruise control. So if I'm driving on the highway and decide to turn on my cruise setting, I'll set my speed and then I can set my following distance too. The car gives you 4 preset car lengths to follow between. All of it's done on the steering wheel, so you don't have to go through any menus. Then the vehicle will slow you down if traffic slows or take you to a full and complete stop if you hit stop and go traffic. Takes you right back up to speed again, and it's a great safety function to have. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more about the N-Line exclusive styling elements. So towards the passenger side, you'll see a dedicated N-Line badge. So that subtle, but still stands out and differentiates this vehicle from the rest of the cars in the Tucson lineup. Your Hyundai badge is also finished in a matte black tone. I think it looks good. Tell me what you guys think. Matte black is definitely more my preferable exterior design choice. Piano black scratches, or I guess shows scratches a whole lot more. Now, as far as powertrain goes, the N-Line is quite surprising because, again, a lot of people, they see how sporty the car looks, the exterior, the interior, it's all very red and bold. But they don't necessarily associate that with the hybrid. Now, this vehicle gives you more performance than the gas model, but it's more efficient. Let's talk about it. So under the hood, we have a 1.6 liter gasoline direct injection turbocharged 4-cylinder. Now, this powertrain combined output is about 231 horsepower with 258 pound-feet of torque. Now let's quickly compare those numbers to the regular gas model of the Hyundai Tucson. So the gas model Tucson utilizes a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder, so a larger, more displacement engine that produces 187 horsepower with 178 pound-feet of torque. So those numbers versus 231 horse and 258 pound-feet of torque. It's quite the advantage if you ask me. When it comes to fuel efficiency, the hybrid will get you 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers combined, and that's for both highway and city driving. Now, a great thing about hybrids is where most gas vehicles are completely inefficient, so stop and go traffic or just sitting at an idle, this vehicle, it shines. It does so well because most of the time it's in EV mode, so it's not using any gas when it's not necessary. Also, when you're coasting your vehicle or doing a lot of downhill, it'll utilize regenerative braking. That will, again, instead of propel your vehicle forward with the electric motor, it'll spin it in reverse and give all of that extra energy back to your battery pack to use later on in EV-only driving. We'll move over to our wheels. The wheels are one of my favorite N-Line design elements. This is a 19-inch alloy exclusive to this trim level, so you won't see this on any of the other Tucsons. You get that, again, dark matte finish. I was gonna say it's gunmetal like what we see on the front bumper, but it's more black over here. It also has a little bit of tire shine on it, so it may not look as matte as it truly is. But there is also some machine finished elements too to give you a contrast of the dark and the light. The very center cap has our N badge, giving the vehicle a little bit more sporty dedication or designation. Then for your tire, we get a premium Michelin tire. Tire size is 235/55 R19s. Now, as far as brakes go, we have larger brakes up at the front, and they're ventilated disc brakes, and you'll get solid disc brakes in the very rear. The rear of the vehicle also utilizes a multi-link rear suspension, so handling's a bit better. It's also not just for, turning sharp corners or sport driving. That's not this kind of sport utility vehicle. It's not a performance car. But as far as doing things like going over speed bumps or Ontario roads, it provides a very stable and quiet drive. A big part of the overall quietness of the drive comes down to the materials used in the car too. So let's take a quick look at the windshield, and then we'll get back to the wheels in a second. For your windshield, you have an acoustic laminated windshield, and while that doesn't necessarily start on this trim level, it's quite nice to have regardless. That essentially just introduces a little bit more of a sound deadening layer to the glass itself. Your wipers will also be rain sensing, so if you get a little bit of rain or a little bit of snow and you have it set to auto, it'll adjust the speed automatically. Now, some more N-Line brand elements. We do have a fender flare right over here, repeated on both the driver and passenger side. And then for our wheel arches, they are body color. So in this case, black. It's hard to tell, but all gloss black, just like the rest of the paint on the vehicle. There is a little bit more of indents here, so a bit more styling compared to some of the other Tucson models. Now, your mirrors will be black regardless of your exterior paint color. So black with the LED turn signal indicator and a small black gloss piping here. The lower portion will be a regular black plastic, not painted material. On the flip side of the mirror, where the actual reflective surface is, you can see we have integrated blind spot detection, so that icon will illuminate if there's ever a vehicle in your left or right blind spot. As far as tech goes, this isn't an add-on on this trim level. It actually starts on the model below, but we do have digital key entry that allows you to unlock, start, and drive your vehicle utilizing your phone if that's something you're into. If not, don't worry, you still get regular proximity entry. So as long as the physical key is somewhere on you, could be in your bag or in your pocket, simply walk up to the driver or passenger front door, put your hand behind the handle, it'll then unlock for you. And then once you're done driving, press on it again to lock it. Small things like that that are honestly just so convenient, and you don't realize how much you love them and use them until you don't have them anymore, like me. I don't have it in my current car. All right, right up at the top, we have gloss black roof rails. So this car is very much a black on black car. It is murdered out, if you will. I do love the look of it, although I will say, getting a black car is something you have to be prepared for. It looks absolutely stunning when the car is clean, but it is one of the harder paints to keep looking good long term. So if you like washing your car, you like taking care of your car, or if you don't care what it looks like at all, black paint might be for you. Coming up to the rear of the vehicle, let's check out the taillights. The rear of the Tucson N-Line is my favorite in the Tucson lineup just because of one thing, and I'll get to it in a second. Now, the tail lamps themselves have a dark housing, almost giving it a tinted look, but without sacrificing visibility or safety. The light bar expands all the way across. Check that out. And then the Hyundai badge is actually hidden beneath the rear glass. This rear glass is heated, so come wintertime, you don't have to scrape anything off the back of your car. It'll just melt right off. For your high-mounted stop lamp, it is positioned, or I guess integrated into the spoiler itself. And then this spoiler is exclusive to the N-Line. You can see we have our fins up at the top. And then on the very roof of the vehicle, we also have our shark fin antenna. Now, also hidden with the spoiler is our rear wiper. So just tucked away under there. Might be a little hard to see on camera. This is super beneficial here in Canada because you don't get snow and ice buildup on it. Kind of expands the lifespan of your rear wiper. No one really thinks about it, but it also makes it a bit hard to change it if you need to. I have done a video on how to put it into service mode. If you guys are interested, I'll make sure I link it in the description once this video is done. All right, now for my favorite part, the diffuser and the exhaust. So the N-Line will have its own specialized rear diffuser styling. Got a little bit of gloss black along the sides. Now this will be on your vehicle if it's an N-Line, regardless of your exterior paint color. And then you get this gunmetal finish. Slots down in the rear over here, repeats itself on the other side, and then towards the passenger side is also where we'll see our exhaust. Now it's a single-sided twin-tip chrome exhaust. I think it looks fantastic, and while this vehicle might not necessarily have a fun exhaust note, it is fairly quiet. It just looks good, and it's good to see the exhaust, in my opinion. Now for comfort and utility, because this is still a sport utility vehicle, we do have a proximity and power lift gate. So I could trigger this either by standing at the rear of the car, as long as the key is somewhere on me, or I can press the button like I just demoed. If you want to change the height, you'll just maneuver it to your preferred setting, and then press and hold the lift gate button until it beeps. There we go. And that is the new height setting. As far as space goes, I have the right or passenger side seats reclined all the way, and then our left or 40 side seat is a bit more upright. You can see we have a ton of usable cargo space here on the Tucson, so tons of width, good amount of depth, and of course the opening is quite large. For height, now the height of this vehicle, it's not too tall. You have about 210 millimeters of ground clearance, and I believe that's just over 8¼ inches. You may have to fact check me on that, but good ground clearance. It's not too high to load your items into the rear, and it also doesn't have a stark drop at the bottom. Now, if I were to lift my cargo floor, you can see we have wheel locks and a tire mobility kit. Now, wheel locks aren't necessarily standard. I guess they just had it with the vehicle. And then tire mobility kit is, so no spare on this car. The mobility kit will provide you with a compressor and a sealant. So if you do get a puncture to your tire and you're starting to lose air, you can fill it with the compressor and then also attach the sealant mechanism to kind of plug that hole wherever the leak is coming from. If you experience a full blowout, of course, there is no spare with the car. You can always choose to purchase one afterwards if that is more your thing, but you do get 5 years, unlimited kilometers of roadside assistance. Adam, you have a question?
Do we know how much weight the SUV can carry in the cargo?
Oh, like the max payload?
Yeah, maybe guess.
I don't have that. What I can do is I can let you guys know in the description after, or we can check out the little sticker on the side with your tire PSI and everything. So we can take a look over there in a second. But if there's anything else I want to touch on the rear. Oh, I did drop the floorboard down, so you can gain a couple extra inches of cargo space if you do drop it. And then to knock down your rear seats, each side of your cargo area will have these levers that release the seat and allow them to fold forwards. Now, I got caught on the seat ahead of it, so I'm just going to manually drop it down. It looks like a big jump over here because keep in mind we did lower the cargo floor. If the cargo floor was on its originating height, it'll be a nice smooth surface, so not a steep jump. Yeah, that's how you knock down the rear seats, and of course this side will go down utilizing that lever, but very easy to do so. The only thing to keep in mind is when it's time to bring the seats back up, you do have to go to either side, release the seat, and then lock it into place. So it is a manual seat, not a power folding seat. Alrighty, for the fuel door is on the driver's side. This is a push style, so as long as the car is unlocked, you'll push on the fuel door and it'll open for you. If it's ever not working, make sure your car is unlocked. 53-liter tank, so it's not too painful or not too large to fill up at the gas pump, and it only requires regular unleaded fuel. So your 87 octane grade is just fine for this car. That was actually quite refreshing to hear. Not only is this a smaller gas tank than the regular gas Tucson, but you're also going to go further on the same, or I guess lesser amount of fuel. So because this vehicle can spend so much time in EV mode, or just regenerating power, you're going further for less. Not a bad thing. Now I'm gonna have Adam give a quick pan of the interior before I hop in. I don't know if Ryan put the specs in the chat, did he, Adam?
No.
All right, while you're panning, I'm just gonna take a quick peek over here. Oh, I saw him on. The gross vehicle weight, oh my goodness, 2,270 kilograms. I don't think we have a payload on here. Yeah, I guess it's not really an SUV thing.
Oh, there he is.
You'll see that on tires, but I'm sorry, not tires, trucks, but not necessarily. All right. Oh, okay. Ryan put it in 1,000 to 45 pounds to 1,000 to 68 pounds? 58 pounds. Okay, I'm going to hop inside the cabin now. I apologize. There's a little bit of dirt on it. We only had the budget for an exterior clean, not an interior clean, but forgive that. Check out the door scuffs. So we have Tucson badge door scuffs, and this isn't just for the driver, passenger side, it's also going to carry over to the rear seats. We also didn't have the budget to pay our electrical bill, so our lights have shut off. So thank goodness they are motion sensor. I'm just gonna walk over here and hope that they turn on again. There we go. Can you guys tell this is a live stream video? Also due to budget cuts, no editing. That's why it's live stream. Okay. The interior of this vehicle is super fun. So the outside, it is fun, but because we had the black paint, a lot of the exclusive design elements were almost hidden or blended in. They're not hidden on the interior, so let's look at them. The door itself is where we'll see some red stitching, as well as some premium fabric inserts, and then some soft touch leather and gloss black. For the mirror controls, they're powered and they are heated, of course. We get express windows for both driver and passenger, and our sound system. Well, our sound system is a Bose premium audio with 8 speakers that starts on this trim level. So you get a nice premium system throughout the cabin, whether you're sitting in the front or the rear, crisp quality sound. The seats themselves are powered. So we got our distance.
Oh my God.
Adam.
Snapped off.
Okay. What has gone on? I don't think it's on properly.
Okay.
There we go. Hey, you guys still there? You still alive? All right, back to what I was saying. Power seats. Now we have our height adjustment here, as well as our tilt. For your backrest, you got the recline function, bring the seat closer or further back from you. And then we have our 2-way lumbar support. So whether you'd like the lumbar to push in on your back or allow it to release a little bit, you can find your perfect seating preference. Both front seats are going to be heated with 3 different levels. Very, very comfortable seats, and they're fun. So Adam gave a quick pan earlier before I hopped in, but let me just explain the materials to you guys. The inserts of the seat is a suede. We got red stitching and red piping, and then the outer portion is a leatherette finish. Now the upper seat back has a little plastic insert here. This doesn't affect your comfort at all, so you don't feel this hard portion. But there is a gunmetal, almost metal-esque finish here with the black matte, and then N-Line badging up at the top with a nice leatherette headrest. Headliner, you guys can probably tell, it is a black headliner, so it definitely adds a more sporty and moody cabin in my opinion. We do get ambient lighting too. The car's off right now. I'm just gonna grab the camera from Adam and have him come around while I wake up the screens and we can take a look at the tech, and I'll also show you how we can change the gauge cluster. Sorry, not gauge cluster, but ambient lighting color. Steering wheel is leather wrapped with red stitching and an N badge down at the bottom. Really love the material of the steering wheel. It feels premium, and it's also a very easy steering wheel to drive with. It's comfortable, it's not too funky. We have paddle shifters mounted on the wheel itself, and that reminds me, I had failed to mention the type of transmission on this car. So this vehicle utilizes a 6-speed automatic transmission. It's not a dual clutch, it's not an IVT. And a fun thing about those paddle shifters is they're not just there for changing your gears. They also adjust the level of regenerative braking on the car depending on the drive mode that you're in. So if you're in eco mode, it'll adjust your regen, versus if you're in sport mode, it'll change the gears. So whatever you want to do, just make sure you're in the correct drive mode, and you can do so with the paddle shifters. Now your gauge cluster is fully digitized, so it is a 12.3-inch display, and this showcases at all times. You have a digital speedometer on the left-hand side, and then the right-hand side will act as your digital tachometer, while also showing you your power, eco, and charge band. This is quite interesting if you've never driven a hybrid before, because it shows you when you are actively charging your vehicle versus when you're drawing most of the power from the gasoline engine itself. And right up in the middle is a nice hybrid of the both. In the very center, we can change our viewpoint. So if we'd like to look at what's currently happening with our vehicle, it could be our drive mode, trip reading, since refueling, and since last reset, as well as your temperature, tire pressure, power distribution for the all-wheel drive system, and your idle mode. So I shouldn't have said idle mode. This is what the vehicle is currently doing. So right now the car is running, but it's not fully on. It's not in a drivable state. It's in accessory mode. So the vehicle is powered by itself on its 12-volt battery system, like any car would. If I were to turn the vehicle on fully by pressing the brake and the start button, it's not going to turn over the engine because I'm not drawing much power from the AC. I'm not blasting the AC. I'm not driving full throttle, so the car can sit in EV mode. That's again where this car is more efficient than a regular gas car. All right, main screen in the very center, another 12.3-inch display. Now this is a full touch screen. Icons are quite large, very easy to configure too. So just like a smartphone, you can drag and drop to move it around and make it more so what you'd like to see. There is a dedicated hybrid menu which shows you the active power of your car. So the engine had just turned on now to charge the battery. You can see the power flowing from the engine to the battery itself and not necessarily the wheels because we're not driving. I'll turn the vehicle on just so we don't idle inside the building, off. And I'll show you guys how we can configure our ambient lights too. Now there is a soft touch of ambient light you can see right now just on our little shelf there and a little bit down at the bottom. However, if you'd like to change it, you can go into vehicle and then lights and then ambient lighting. From here, you then go to color. You can choose the color wheel if you want and pick whatever your heart desires. Let's do red. Oh, I forgot to set it. There we go. So now we have red ambient lighting throughout the car. Just a fun touch to make the car a little bit more you. Now for the main screen, something I always like to mention, and it's a big request from a lot of our viewers and our buyers, we now have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard on our larger displays. The previous gen Tucson, so before the design refresh, we didn't have that, so it is a big deal. It's also reconfigured the way our cabin's laid out. So the screens are a little bit larger, they're a bit more curved, so reduced glare. And then our gear shift is no longer those button styles, almost like a computer keyboard. It's mounted on the steering column, and it's a shift by wire. So foot on the brake, tip it forward for drive, downwards for reverse, and P on the end for neutral. Sorry, don't P on the end, but the P is on the end. All right, here we go for our start button, our ignition, highlighted in red for the sporty accent. And then towards the right, we have some real buttons and dials for our volume and media controls, as well as our hazard button in the center. Then below that, we have our climate control. It's dual zone climate, so I as a driver can set my temp, and then the passenger can separate it. We can also sync everything up, or just do driver only if it's just you commuting and you want to be as efficient as possible. Your heated seats and heated steering wheel are also turned on from this display. So it is a haptic screen. You do get a little bit of feedback, but you might want to take your gloves off come winter time to make the screen respond. That being said, this car does have Blue Link, so that is the app access. You can start your vehicle, turn on the heated seats, turn on the heated steering wheel before you even get into the car. That way, everything's perfect. A few more things in the very center before we show the passenger seat and the sunroof, and then we'll hop in the back and talk space. So we get a floating center console here, and this is one of the huge improvements from moving the gear shift towards the steering column. So much usable space, wireless phone charger, 2 generous sized cup holders, and then we still have covered center console storage. So it's fairly deep, good amount of width, and there's a little pocket here too for any sort of loose change or whatever you want easy access to. Right over here, we have our drive and terrain mode select. So by pressing the drive and terrain button here, I can switch whether my car is in drive or terrain. And then to select between those, we will use the toggle. Now for our drive modes, we have 3. There's eco mode, sport mode, and a customizable My Drive. in your vehicle settings, you can change what MyDrive does. So there's actually one called baby mode, and that reduces the amount of torque from low speeds. So let's say I do have a baby or even a pet in the back. With hybrids, you do have an electric motor, and at low speeds, largely what's powering your car is that electric motor. EVs and electric motors have instant torque. So when you hit the gas, the car goes. It doesn't really hesitate. There's no gradual increase. It just goes. So that helps kind of control the movements a little bit, make them a little bit more gradual for the comfort of your rear passengers or babies. Pretty cool. And then for our terrain modes, we have snow, mud, and sand. That will change the all-wheel drive torque distribution to accommodate that type of terrain or climate. Now, it does have an automatic system too, so if you don't decide to put your vehicle in snow mode even though it's snowing, don't worry, you'll still be okay. Your vehicle will sense if there's a little bit of slippage or needs more traction, and it will redistribute power to the rear automatically. Pretty cool. Below that, we do have two USB-Cs. So the one on the left, highlighted in orange, is for both data connectivity and charging. The one on the right is simply for charging. Then there's a 12 volts and a little bit of ambient lighting for your center storage area. This portion here has almost a rubber-like material, so if you do put things down there, they shouldn't slide around if you are driving or braking hard. So that's quite handy. It also has a slight lip here too to prevent things from flying upwards. Adam will show the glove box quickly, so if you just want to open it up, it is an illuminated glove box. And then right above the glove box, we have a small shelf that's highlighted by ambient lighting. So you can see a slight red tinge over there. Promised I'd show you guys the sunroof, so let's check it out. We have a full panoramic sunroof with a black cover just to match our headliner. The glass itself opens to about here when I do have it open. There we go. Then you can also choose to tilt it if that's your preference. Your interior lighting are LEDs. So they don't stand out too much in the daytime, but at nighttime they do make a big difference. And then our rear view mirror is an auto dimming mirror with integrated home link. All right, I think that sums up what we'd like to talk about up at the front. Let's take a look at the rear and summarize with a couple questions at the end. All right, window stickers on the floor, we'll move that. Now, one thing I really like to see on any vehicle really that has a specialized interior package. So many of them highlight the driver and even passenger front area, but they leave out the back seats. Not in this case. So the back seats here still have that suede insert for the two main seats with the leatherette siding and the red stitching. The main seats will also be heated with the button to turn them on located on the door. So is it 3 or 2 levels, Adam?
3 levels.
3 levels of heat for your rear seats. The Bose sound system also extends back here, and even the door card itself, you'll still notice we have highlights of the red stitching and some gunmetal painted door handles. So materials back here, they pass the test. They still look good and they feel good. Behind the passenger front seat, we have a mesh net pocket, and the same is repeated behind the drivers. Then in the very center, we have our rear air vents and 2 USB-Cs down at the bottom. If no one's sitting in the center seat, I can drop it down and access my cup holder and armrest. Then it tucks right back nice and neatly. You do have car seat tethers back here. And right now is a perfect example of how the seats can maneuver themselves. So right now I have mine fully upright. I can choose, however, to drop it back however much I'd like. It does so in increments. And then this is the max. So this is the max recline available on the rear seats here. Regardless of how I've laid out my seat, you still have access to the sunroof above you, so you can take a look at the world go by if it's open, or you can just look at the black headliner. Then we have our LED lights back here as well, with small clips right beside, and your handles. Alrighty, and I think that's about it for the rear seats. I'm gonna just hop in the middle so you guys can see the worst seat in the house, which still ain't that bad. Now, of course, the seat's going to be more narrow, and it's also going to be positioned more upright. Great overview of the cabin ahead of me. So you can check on everything. See, it's the best backseat driver's seat, let me tell you that. Another thing about this seat is it's going to have a little bit of a hump in the very center, and that's just because of the drivetrain of this vehicle. However, it's not too high where the point that my knees are in my chest. I'm still fairly comfortable. It's a good seat to be in. All right, because our lights just went out, I think that's my cue to get out of the car so we can answer some questions and hopefully get the lights back on. Again, price point is $43,799 Canadian. And that is the base MSRP before taxes and fees for the N-Line here. look at some of your questions, see what you guys have to say about the N-Line, and I want to ask, are you pleasantly surprised with how sporty this vehicle looks for a hybrid powertrain? Because when I first discovered that the N-Line was a hybrid, I was a little shocked, but it definitely makes sense. Again, this vehicle delivers more performance than the gas model, both powertrain-wise, like horsepower and torque-wise, and efficiency-wise. It's better in all of them. Martin said, what is that in US dollars? I unfortunately do not know. I cannot do that conversion off the top of my head, but Adam is on it.
In Canadian?
43,799. Gabi, you can't deny it. You purposely chose an outfit that matches the interior and exterior of the car. Guys, I promise you, coming into work today, I never know what vehicle we're gonna film for a live stream. I actually came in late today because I was getting blood work done. So, I had no idea. Adam was the one that picked this car, and he had no clue what I was wearing today.
The price. It is, in US dollars, it's $31,634.92.
Now, with that being said, if you are in the States and you do want to buy an N-Line, the actual MSRP of your vehicle may vary, and the equipment may vary. Does this vehicle have the dynamic gauge cluster that's available in some Kia cars? Does the dynamic cluster sync with the weather in Canada? Mine only changes with the time and not the weather. So this car doesn't have the dynamic one that was available on our previous generation software. Now, I'm going to be hopeful and say maybe this new software, because we have over-the-air updates and it seems pretty promising, maybe we will in the future get updates that allow that kind of cluster. But as of right now, it does not have a dynamic cluster. You can change the theme of it if you'd like. Let me give you a quick tutorial. But nothing that gives almost like a landscape like some of our previous Kia cars. The Sportage and the Tucson were one of those vehicles that had the dynamic option. So let's take a look. So this is our regular gauge cluster. If I'd like to change it, I'm going to go over to setup over here. And then, where is it? Cluster. Cluster theme selection. Let me turn off the climate, so it's kind of noisy. We have simple, modern, and classic. So I'm just going to show you guys the options before I go ahead and change them. And then we have styles per theme. So right now we're on modern, and we're on modern style A. This is modern style B. This is modern style C, which is definitely a bit more sporty. Let's turn over to simple. Almost looks like a candy cane racetrack. That's simple style C. Simple style B. And simple style A. Guys, I'm confusing my words. Here's classic, so this looks a lot more like a regular speedometer with our hybrid tachometer. If we move over to style C, that hybrid tachometer remains the same. And style B. Pretty cool. Sorry you guys, the door and trunk open message will keep coming up, but I hope you guys got a general idea of it. I do have a gauge cluster changing video coming very soon. I think I'm going to post that on Saturday. And I will also do a video dedicated to the interior of the Tucson N-Line, which will maybe go up Sunday. So if you want to see some more in-depth things, tutorials, let me know. We always want to film what you guys would like to see, so just tell us in the comments. And I've got time on my hands. I could film that. I can answer those questions. I just saw, hold on, am I seeing this? Ruthless Biscuit. Thank you so much. What an incredibly generous donation. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the love. You guys are the absolute best. I love how everyone else thanks her too. Thank you guys. Just the community we've built on here. You guys are incredible. Seriously, this is insane. I can't believe I get to do this every single day and talk to you guys. It's not even just reviewing the cars anymore. It's just talking to my friends. With the car there too. I just wanted to quickly check if there's any questions before I end off today's video. Does it have a camera mirror? It does not. Being a sport trim, is the car louder on the inside? I can't lie, I'm mishearing the downshifts with the upgraded acoustics. No. So being as it is, it's sporty styling, not a sporty vehicle, if that makes sense. Not a performance SUV. So it is a quiet interior, a very quiet interior. Adds to the peacefulness, the calmness, reduced road noise, that kind of thing. But if you want a loud vehicle, I mean, you could always play some F1 car noises through your speakers. I can tell you the quality will be good, that Bose premium sound system, but that is all. All right, thank you guys so much. Again, what an incredible live stream. Thank you so much, Ruthless Biscuit, and thank you to the rest of you that were joined on today. It's been a ton of fun. We hope to see you again on tomorrow's live at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye.